the Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground, spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to make us all a little more awake, alive, and ascending. So I'm giving you the word of the day up front, but stay with me. We're going to talk about devotion today. The honest, like the real world kind of devotion. The kind that looks like showing up again and again and again, even when life beats you down, even when things are uncertain, even when you're not sure you're doing it right, even and especially when it is not glamorous. Because many times, maybe even most times, the biggest changes in our lives, especially from a spiritual perspective, don't come from huge moments. They come from staying with something long enough to let it change us. And so a few weeks ago, I went to a benefit for an organization that builds schools in Africa. And I've been to lots of events like this over the years, but this one really hit differently. I don't know if I was different or it was different, but woof, it really pounded at my heart. And there was one woman who spoke at this, an African woman. She spoke at the event. And she shared that she had been attending or she had been a student at one of these schools. But actually, she wasn't a student at one of the schools. She lived in the African town, but couldn't afford to go to the school. And she just didn't accept that. And instead of giving up and saying, okay, I don't have the money, I can't go to this school, she did something that humbled me to my core. She just snuck in. She snuck into the school every single day. She had a school uniform and she would just slip into the classroom, into the back, hoping to disappear in the crowd, hoping that nobody would notice her. And sometimes she made it an hour without somebody finding her and throwing her out. And sometimes she made it 10 minutes. And sometimes she was able to be there the whole day. But it didn't matter. Every single morning, she was right back at the door and ready to like try to sneak in and get her learning. Absolutely amazing. And one day, the founder of this nonprofit, this incredibly warm, bright man, saw her outside of the school and he asked her all about her and she explained the story to him. And he asked her the question that I had too, right? Why she kept coming back if she knew that she was probably just going to be kicked out that day. And she said the most powerful thing I've heard in a long time. She said, because maybe I would learn even a little something, right? And it landed so hard in me, I had to take a breath. It really humbled me too, right? I know myself. I don't know about you, but gosh, I can get discouraged with a hangnail and quit something, right? If something feels hard or slow or confusing, or like I'm going to be humiliated even slightly, I can be like, nope, not for me. I can check out so fast. I can get so discouraged. And I can be like, well, if it's not working, why am I even doing this? Talk about ego, right? And talk about not being devoted to something. But this girl, whoa, she wasn't measuring her success. She wasn't measuring her effort. Wait, I need to start that one again. So, but this girl, she wasn't measuring her effort by success or ease or recognition the way that I can do so easily. She wasn't like, you need to guarantee that I get into this school today and then I'll go, right? She just kept showing up on devotion and hope. She just kept showing up because learning mattered to her and it was the key to getting her a better life. Even the smallest, teeniest bit of learning. And it really got to me and it made me ask myself, have I abandoned something because the payoff wasn't immediate? Have I walked away too early from things? Have I not come back to something because I could only get a little bit from it? Because her devotion, it wasn't loud and it wasn't dramatic. It was just steady and real. And honestly, if I started to shift the way that I look at my own life and my own commitments and even my own hopes and dreams, I mean, especially the ones that don't get the quiet, uh, especially the quiet ones that don't get applause and that put me at risk for being humiliated or not working, if I started to look at my life the way that she did, I think a lot might change. So, anyway, that brings me to our pocket sage today, and it comes from Simple Abundance by Sarah Ban Brethnock. And it's a daily reader. I love a daily reader. It's like a spiritual horoscope. And it's about gratitude and presence and the meaning that we can find in our everyday lives. So here is our little pocket sage reading. Gratitude is not a mood, but a practice. It's the daily devotion of returning to what is already there. For those of you in the back, gratitude is not a mood, but a practice. It's the daily devotion of returning to what is already here. I love that line, the daily devotion of returning, because that's exactly what this young woman was doing. And it's what so many of us forget to do. We think devotion is about intensity, but mostly it's about repetition and returning. So I know I already spoiled it for you, but our word of the day today is devotion. And let me say it, though I think you know it. Devotion is not fancy. It's not necessarily impressive. It's actually just the simple act of showing up when you're unsure, especially when it's not perfect. And honestly, when you'd rather not do it, when you'd rather do anything else but this thing, right? And it just sounds like I am staying with this. That's it. And that's enough. And devotion doesn't demand perfection. It's kind of like the opposite of perfection in many ways. It doesn't even require confidence. It's just simply the decision to keep coming back to what matters. And listen, I know how hard that is. I'm a living, breathing human with you. I know what it's like to want certainty before you're willing to take another step. I know what it's like to get discouraged when the results are not showing up on our timeline. I know what it's like to get caught in that lie that we can tell ourselves that things have to feel easy or glamorous or assured, right? In order for us to do them and in order for them to be meaningful. But honestly, the most meaningful things in life are built through these small acts of devotion, right? Inch by inch, not mile by mile. And that can mean a morning routine you return to, a practice you stay close to, right? Some kind of devotion that you keep practicing even when it's not working. Gosh, I think about my meditation practice in that way. A relationship you show up to with honesty and heart, a dream you don't abandon the moment it becomes uncomfortable. Because devotion is built one just keep going at a time. And honestly, the person that we become through devotion, that's really the win, right? Because that's the part that stays with us. And that's the part that impacts others. Like that girl's devotion impacted my life so profoundly. I promise you that wasn't her intention, but look at the shadow. Look where her shadow hit so far. So here's my reflective question for you. And especially as we move into New Year's with all of our resolutions, where in your life are you being invited to keep showing up? Not perfectly, but consistently with devotion. So I'm cheering you on, Ascenders, as you return to what matters, even in the smallest ways, because that is where real change begins. And listen, if you're looking for some help with your real change, come see me. Come see my new website. It's so beautiful, and there's so many opportunities for you to grow and change with me. And I would love to do that with you at mollycarmel.com. And I will see you next time.